crafters, and welcome. So in today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I created this part of this project that I did for Craft Roulette. Because when I put it up, uploaded it, I had a comment that someone wanted to know how to make it. Now, I'm not going to be doing all the decorating of this part here. I'm just going to be focusing on the cutting dimensions of the card base and the designer paper and the scoring and how I actually put it together. So I'm going to be using the same papers and the same colors just because it'll be easier for me, and then I can just maybe make another one of these, right, to give to somebody else. So let's go ahead and get started with that. And the first thing that we need to do, I'm using Misty Moonlight for my card base. And so I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this all in the camera, but I will tell you the dimensions. Okay, so we need a card base of 5 by 6. So I'm going to go ahead and just put this at 6, and then I'll go ahead and cut it at 5. See, I have to, what I do is I like to go by the numbers down here because they're closer to me. But then when it comes to 5 and stuff, because of this bar here, I come up here and I find my 5 mark there. That's why I'm back and forth when I'm using my cutting here. Okay, so we've got now, this is my 5 by 6. And because this is 5 inches this way, we want to make sure that the 6 part is our horizontal layout, the 6 inch. Now what we need to do is you need to find a designer paper. And if it's directional, just keep this in mind, that when you're cutting it, because we're going to be cutting this at some different sizes here, but we're going to be adhering it to this part. So this is 5 inches, right? So if this was a direction and you want your direction to be right on your star part, you got to keep that in mind. This, I guess, has a direction. I'm going to consider this the direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this first piece here at, we need to do this at, because we need 6 pieces. So we're going to do 5 by 4 inches. So since the 5 inches is going to be, this direction, I'm going to go ahead and cut this at this direction at the 5 inch mark. Okay, so, and then I'll do another one because we're going to need 6 pieces of this. So we're going to go to the 5 up here and go ahead and cut that. Now, I'm just going to put these 2 together, and I'm going to cut them now all at 4 inches. And then that'll give us the 6 pieces that we need. So I know that my, well, I can come down here. I'll just come up here so you can see it. So this is going to be 4 inches up here. So we've got our first 2. Just going to make sure this is still straight. And then another 4 inches. And sometimes the designer paper is just a little bit bigger than 12 by 12. So I'm just going to, for double checking here, put this at 4. And see, there's just a little bit hanging off there. And so I'm just going to cut off that little sliver so that they're all at the 5 by 4 inches. Okay, so now we're going to do some scoring. So on 2 of them, let's work on the ones that we only need to do on 2 of the pieces. So for 2 of them, we are going to score it, and this is the 4-inch side, and I'm going to be putting that up against the top here, and we're going to score at 1 inch, 2 inch, and 3 inch. So let me go ahead and put this at 1 inch, and then, oops, let me make sure it's even, and score that 1 inch, 2 inches, and 3 inches. And then we're going to do that again to our second piece. So we've got 1 inch. And I like to go over it a couple times just to make sure I get a good score line. 2 inches and 3 inches. And then the rest of the pieces we're going to score the same, but at different dimensions. So we're going to score this at 1/2 inch. And then 1.5. 2.5. and 3.5. Okay, so now we'll do that with the other 3 pieces. Okay, so now we have our 4 that we just scored, and then the first 2 over here. And then our card base. And this is the 6-inch side, and this is the 5-inch side. And then this is the 5-inch side like this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go ahead and burnish all our pieces at the score line and get them all nicely burnished. Okay, I was fussing with them because I thought, you know, I should probably keep them in the order because I really can't tell if there's a direction on this star paper, and definitely not on the inside. So just keep that in mind when you're using papers, you know, that are directional. Okay, now we're going to go ahead and bring in our card base here, and we're going to start with the ones that we started with the 1/2 inch, so that you'll have these 2 smaller ends at the end of these ones, because the other 2 has the same size on all sections. So we're going to start with this, and what we need to do is put adhesive on, and you could use any kind of adhesive that you like. And if you use liquid adhesive, just make sure don't put tons of it, because you don't want it to ooze out and then get all over, and then your pieces start sticking to each other. So we're going to go ahead and lay this corner, or this edge, I should say, against this edge here on one of the sides of this piece. So we're going to start right here, and we're going to lay this down and go ahead and adhere that. And what you can do too is, if you want, you can then open it up and burnish it a little bit more on the inside there, and just make sure that it's even. And then we're going to go ahead and add some adhesive to this other end, and we need to butt this up with this. And so the easiest way that I found to do it was, now without getting glue all over myself, is to just fold it over and lay it down Let's see. Let's see here. Okay, there. So it's, oops, see, you want to make sure that it's butted up against that edge. And so what you could do is fold it down like this and just make sure that it's butted up, see, on both ends. So that's what I would do. And then we're going to take another one and we're going to go ahead, and if you're making sure that it's directional, just keep that in mind, because we are now going to adhere this line right up against there. So if you put glue here and then you turn it over, it might change the direction. So just keep that in mind. And I say all these little things, you would think that that would be a given, but I was kind of fighting with that. So I'm telling you because I want you to not make the mistakes that I did. So I'm going to line that up directly against where our other one was, and then glue that down, and then I'm going to go ahead and put adhesive here, maybe a little more, and then fold this under and see if you I say that we can fold it down like that, but you got to make sure that they're lined up and butting up against there before you push it down. Okay, so now we've got those two pieces adhered. Now for the middle part, we're going to take the other one, the one of the two that we did that has all these the same size, and we're going to put some adhesive on this side over here. Now you could put it on here if you want, on this piece, or you can put it right down this section right here. So whichever you feel more comfortable with doing. Because now we're going to make this edge line up with this first score line here, there. So let's go ahead and do that. And then again, you can open it up and do that. Now this one is going to go just like that. So again, you could put your adhesive here or here, whichever you're more comfortable with. So on this one, I'll put it on this side. Just make sure you don't go over that go over that score line. Okay. So now we'll just line that up and press it down. So there, now we have half of our star created. See, but if you look in there, I was a little off there. See, it didn't meet up completely there. So just make sure that you do that. And now we're going to start working on the other side, and we're going to do the same thing. So it's pretty simple, I think. So let's go ahead and get started on the back side, and put this right up against, oops, but we don't want to put it on the, don't put it on the designer paper. That's not going to work, right? Make sure. Okay, so let's see. Do it like this. Turn it around. There we go. See, I almost messed that one up. So there we go. Adhere that to the edge. And then we'll go ahead and put glue here on this side here. And again, hopefully, let's see. Yeah, you know, it's hard to tell if there's a direction. So just keep that in mind, because I don't know what papers you guys are going to be using. Okay. Now to just get that in there, butt it up against the other part. Okay, let's see. Make sure I got that. Sometimes it's hard to... Yep, see, I didn't get that one completely in. So just... This one seems harder than my first one for some reason. But I don't know what I did differently. But see, if you get too much glue, see how it got some glue there? So you just got to be careful. I mean, that's going to be okay because we're going to adhere something there. But you don't want to get it to where you get too much glue that they start sticking to each other. So then we'll go ahead and go back to this one. And we'll just put some adhesive there. Line that up against the edge of the other one. And then put some adhesive on this edge. Just keep doing the same thing that we've been doing, right? But this way you can see it again. And get this lined up. Inside there. And then once you get it lined up, then you can lay that down and press on it and hope that you stayed lined up. And it looks like we did good there. Okay, now our last piece. So this time I think I'm gonna put the adhesive on this panel. Making sure I just stay on that one little section. And then I'll go ahead and lay this down right up against the edge to that scored line. Glue that down. And then again over here. Okay. See, I might have put too much glue there, but let's hopefully, I won't push down too hard so that it won't squeeze out too much. And there we go. We have our star created. So then it's just a matter of unfolding it and getting it into a nice shape there to get the star to look like a star, right? But there I think it's so cute. So just play around with that. And there you go. So now you just have to decorate this side and the back side. And you'll be done. You'll be done with this project. Now, again, I'm not going to do that today because I already have it here. Now, I'll link this video. I did tell you how I did it, but I also put the colors, my Stampin' Blends, in the description box of this video to tell you which colors I used on their skin, on the baby Jesus' skin, and their clothing and all that stuff. So you can find the colors that I used, and then you can just do your own coloring. And there we go. And I tell you how I came about this and so forth. Alrighty, well, there is a quick tutorial on how to put that together. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and if you did, you can show me your joy by giving it a thumbs up. Okay, well, until my next video, have fun crafting, everyone, and remember, choose joy, and may God bless you all. Bye-bye.